$15 for a whole duck. Whoa, ho, ho. Check it out.
Burung kakak tua mencok di jendela. Nenek sudah tua, giginya tinggal dua.
One chicken and one lamb. Huh?
2 plate or 1 plate?
Two plate.
Lightroom, oh la la. Lightroom, oh la la. Lightroom.
It's okay if I sit here? Do you mind if I share this one? Yeah. 4, is it 4? 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I take these two, can? Can, huh? Okay, thank you.
Lightroom, la la la. Burung kakak tua. Burung kakak tua mencok di jendela.
Hi, I'm here at Geylang Serai market. Just a warning, this vlog will have a few interruptions. Because again, I missed out on a bit of information here and there. There are also a few caveats which I have to stress at some points. A few caveats. Anyway, so, back to the vlog. Okay. And I know that I'm actually speaking a little bit closer to the mic today because it is incredibly loud here. So I hope you can hear me. We are here to try Geylang Biryani stall. This stall has been in existence since 1964 and the stall has carved out a niche for itself as being the go-to place for cheap and good biryani at a Geylang Serai market. At just $5.50 a portion, their biryani is almost the cheapest among the 5 biryani stalls here. Yes, there are 5 biryani stalls here. I think there's one other which is the cheapest of the lot at about $5, but this is $5.50. There's been the media spotlight for a number of years, and so it actually attracts more than the usual number of tourists and first-timers to Geylang Serai. Now run by Sheikh Hamid. The stall is actually run by Sheikh Hamid, his wife, and his son Hanan. Just to make that clear. So it's actually carved out a niche for actually having very, very value for money mutton chicken biryani. There's a fried chicken option which I never used to see. Maybe it's new, I'm not too sure. They've also added to the value for money-ness of it because their dal has got impressive ingredients like chunky potatoes, carrots and cucumbers and mutton meat inside. They also only serve a cucumber achar, the achar timun, kind of like achar cucumber strips. It's more stripped down as opposed to the normal achar which has got like carrots, pineapples, cucumbers. Very, very occasionally they do serve the achar buah, which is mixed fruit and it's homemade. For their mutton biryani in particular, they also either serve pure meat or they serve mutton and bone. So you have to sort of like specify what you want beforehand so that you don't get disappointed. Okay, the reason is because with no bone, you get more meat. But the meat tends to be not as tender. But with a bone, the meat is obviously more tender but you get less of it. So. Now there has been criticism that the spices have somewhat tamed over the years, but I haven't been back in about a year or two, so let's try, let's see what it tastes like. Let's start with the rice itself, the all-important rice. Yeah, well, what can I say? Proper long grain basmati rice, I think. Okay, it's not 100% long grain basmati rice. I do see some broken bits inside. They don't use the top grade, but maybe a grade or two lower. But it's nicely buttery with a present amount of ghee inside, and the smell, nicely buttery aroma to it. Very nice. It perhaps is done a bit softer, but it's fine. It's still nice. The cucumber achar timun. Oh, okay. Crunchy cucumbers, very, 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 very lightly tangy and spicy. Very slightly spicy. Very slight savouriness to it. If there's any sweetness, it is very, very little. And it's really more about the freshness of the cucumber coming through. So it's meant to actually bring about kind of like a refreshing bite in between the heavy buttery rice and the heavy meat and so on and so forth. So it has a refreshing flavour. And very often you have cucumber, it's like completely limp and it's, here the cucumbers are fairly fresh. They actually give a fair amount these days as opposed to before. Before, sometimes the achar you get is a bit less, and so it's never enough to go around. Now for the all-important mutton, if this fails, it'll be a very sad day. Seems a bit dry today, but let's taste it. Okay. Yeah, it is a bit dry today. But the flavor is there, it's amazing actually. It's soft, but it could be softer, and I've tasted it softer before. But it is still very nice. Try it one more time. If you get the one with the bone, right, it should actually taste a little bit more softer because it's closer to the bone. This is just pure meat. Yeah, it's a bit dry today. Now for the gravy on top, the masala sauce. Now this sauce is instrumental in the flavor of the meat. Again, absolutely amazing. Spice packed, oil rich, wonderful flavor. Even though it's spice packed and it's oil rich, right? And there's a healthy amount of savoriness. It doesn't go overboard in the salt department. If you tried the meat with the masala sauce inside, and it's a perfect combination. It doesn't make the mutton too dry. It adds just a little bit of moisture inside. Perfect. Now for the dal, it doesn't really look like a dal. It's no longer a dal, it's kind of like a stew because there are so many ingredients inside. Okay, there's actually a good reason why their dal has so many chunky vegetables. At this point, be a bit skeptical about the dal. At this point. There is potato, carrot, mutton meat, brinjals over here. So there's a lot of ingredients for a dal on the side. There's a gravy as well, but it doesn't look as though it's a dal because I don't see any dal at all. Okay, tasting it, right, it does taste as though there is actually a dal taste to it, but there's very little dal inside. It's more like a curry gravy. As for the taste itself, liquidy, savory, spicy, a bit of an oil richness, slightly tangy, and the vegetables are nicely stewed, but there's still a firm bite to it. Let me try the aubergine, the brinjal, whatever you call it, a bit of the rice. The potatoes, meltingly soft. Oh my god. The dal curry gravy, it's got mutton scraps inside which have got a lot of fat on it. In a way, it's really good. The fat's been rendered out, so all the flavor of the mutton and the fat richness has gone inside the gravy, and this is what's left. And wow, just wow. The meat in the dal itself, wonderfully stewed, soft, so good. Now for the chicken itself. Don't expect it to be super moist because when it comes to biryani, it never is super moist. They actually take out the skin. They expect the meat to have a meatier bite to it. Oh, chunky meat, dry, but that's why you have the gravy. The meat itself, wonderfully flavored. In fact, even right through, they've actually marinated the meat so well that the marinade has actually permeated through the meat itself. It's wonderful. The meat plus a little bit of the masala gravy on side. Rounds it out just nice. The mutton plus the masala plus the rice plus the cucumber plus the gravy all at once. Everything all here. That's what it tastes like. One thing about the biryani here is that if you come too late, like late lunch, all the biryanis will be completely sold out. So come here early, on time if you can. 10, 11 is a good time. You get everything here. 1 o'clock, maybe lucky. 2 o'clock, compared to all the stalls here, if you're talking about brisk business, right, this stall has it. This stall and one other, Biryani Express, which I will talk about in another vlog. It's not the best biryani I've tried, but at this price point, $5.50, it is easily the most value for money, and it hits close to some of the top biryanis I've had. It's amazing that you can get this kind of quality for $5.50. It's amazing. In comparison to the other biryani stalls here, the meat pieces are a bit smaller. I think the other stalls actually give a slightly larger amount of meat. The one problem about having a slightly smaller amount of meat is that invariably you will come up to the problem where there's almost too much rice for the amount of meat you get. So bear that in mind if you're obsessed about the quantity of meat you actually get here. Hello? Hello? Test, test. Yeah. Okay, this is a small update. I came back to Geylang Biryani stall to try the biryani again. The meat, oh my god. Last time round I was a bit disappointed by the quality of the meat. This was hard, but they redeemed themselves. It is freaking soft today. It's amazingly soft. Oh. But there are a few caveats. The vegetables will vary. I think that because they see me with a camera, right? And I told them I'm not filming today, so they actually gave me less chunky vegetables inside the dal. Okay. And then the other guy recognized me because I'm special. I'm a journalist, so they gave me an extra piece. There we go. Because I saw him actually reach into the pot, cut out half a piece for me, because I had filmed the inside of their stall. That being said, you can't lie when it comes to the actual quality of the meat. All the meats are already cooked already, right? So in conclusion, the meats are soft today. The amounts are probably not as big as what you expect. You get a fairly decently sized piece. I got 1.5 size, so I got 1.5 times the amount of meat which you normally get. The dal won't have those chunky vegetables inside. They'll have maybe one chunky vegetable, that's it. Whereas when I went, like 3 or 4 because they saw me with a camera. So bear that in mind. In these food vlogs, I try to be very unbiased. I pay my own way. I would try to get the amounts and the cooking style to be exactly what normal people would eat, but it doesn't always work out, especially those hawkers who are very media heavy. They'll just give you extra anyway, so I might pay my own ways so that I can be completely honest about the food. And the reason why I'm disclosing this is so that I am also completely honest with you guys, in that sometimes there is a bit of favoritism which I try to quash as much as I can. And when I do see some favoritism, I point it out in these vlogs. So there you have it, Geylang Biryani stall. Okay, it's good, but with those few critical caveats applied. So lower your expectations when it comes to the portions itself. But please, 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 please don't go and crucify the stall because they practice a little bit of favoritism on me. Because ultimately, every food business, right, whether if it's hawkers, cafe or a restaurant, they do practice a little bit of favoritism towards their friends, their family, the media, or important people, just because that's how it is. It's how the industry works. It's pretty common. So, thanks for watching another episode of Gexby Eats, where I eat through the whole of Singapore. If you liked this episode, give a like, subscribe, and comment below if you have a favourite biryani stall or you've eaten at this biryani stall. And I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Okay, this one yours.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay, I might come back.
Okay.
Thank you very much.